the International is coming. The world's best Dota 2 teams fighting for their chance to be forever remembered as the greatest players of all time. Each team and player bringing with them a unique story to share. This is the International Lowdown, and this is the story of evil geniuses. America. Throughout Dota 2's history, there have been countless North American teams, but there has only ever been one team that has always been synonymous with North American pride. And for better or worse, this has always been the Evil Geniuses. It doesn't matter how many European, CIS, or any other players are on the team, Evil Geniuses is always American. EG carries the weight of an entire region on their backs. They are not just an American team. In the eyes of the world, they are the North American scene at large. When EG is strong, NA is strong. When they falter, the entire world demands that they get one less slot for TI. No, things have not always been sunshine and butterflies, because EG is thought of as a metaphor for a region rather than a regular team. And because of that, they often get it the worst from the community at large. Now, don't get me wrong, when EG is winning, they are heavily praised. But no team in Dota gets it worse than EG when they are losing. And this year, well, they were losing. EG, the beacon of hope for North America, had a pretty hard season, only making it to one grand final in the entire DPC. However, if there is one team that has shown that they can roll with the punches, deal with the flame, and come out as still one of the greatest teams in the world, it has always been Evil Geniuses. And right after winning the regional qualifier for TI8, it is time once again for EG to show the world why they are one of the most iconic teams in Dota's history. But they wouldn't have got there without a little bit of help from some powerful new allies. It is impossible to talk about EG without first talking about Arteezy. Artur is one of the most beloved players in all of Dota 2. This hard worker has always been striving for his goals and is fondly thought of by the community at large as one of the boys. Starting his career at a young age and rising through the North American leaderboards like a rocket, Arteezy spammed mid and was quickly recognized as one of the best mid players in the world. When his team Speed Gaming needed an emergency stand-in at MLG Columbus 2013, Arteezy answered that call, and the relatively unknown player went head-to-head against the greatest mids in the world. And, well, he absolutely destroyed him. He created a stack with some of his good friends that would later become the first ever good iteration of EG. Arteezy is a man who has never taken a break since he started, and he has always lusted for that Aegis. Even if that means leaving EG out of the blue once in a while to join forces with Team Secret in hopes of increasing his chances at international success. This was never done out of spite. Arteezy has made it perfectly clear time and time again that he does what he does because he just wants to be the best that he can be. However, he still lives in the shadow of the one time he was not on EG, which was unfortunately the one time that they actually won the International. But he has never given up. With the support of the entire community cheering him on, both in his stream and in the crowded events, fans around the world just want to watch their boy Artur win this year's TI. One member of the team who has won a TI, though, is Sumail, who stepped up to the spotlight as an unlikely replacement for Arteezy in 2015. With the world's currently best mid when he left for Secret. When Arteezy left, EG looked like they were in some serious trouble, but Sumail would stun the world at his first major competition, DAC, widely considered to be the Chinese International. When EG picked up Sumail, he was an innocent 15-year-old Pakistani kid who had just moved to the US, but who had a quenchless thirst for some Dota. Despite his age and relatively unknown status, EG chose him as their mid, and he delivered more than anyone has ever delivered before. At DIC, Sumail was thought of to be the weak link in Evil Geniuses, and EG's enemies committed 2 or 3 players at once to ruin him in his mid lane. Sure, Sumail got killed a lot, But he was resilient, and his now iconic Storm Spirit for the first half of the game, despite being killed relentlessly in the second half of the game, would come back and destroy everybody like they were puppets. Sumail won that tournament almost single-handedly for Evil Geniuses, and his Storm Spirit became the stuff of legends. A few months later, that Storm Spirit would result in him lifting the Aegis of the Champions at TI5, the youngest player to ever do so. What were you doing when you were 16? Because Sumail, he was buying his mom a house. Since then, Sumail has grown up a lot, trading his cockiness for confidence as he continues on his path to become the world's greatest. Haters love to watch the great falter, but just like a DAC, you can try to tear down the king, but in the end, he always comes back, leaving the world at large quite satisfied. The Danish prodigy Crit is one of the best supports in Dota 2's history. Starting out in the local Danish pro scene for several years, Crit soon migrated to NEL in search of a challenge, which is an in-house league for high MMR players and acted as a breeding ground for new pro talent in the North American scene. In his early years, Crit admitted that he tended to lose more than he won. But this ability to convert his losses into wisdom that he could learn from transitioned him into a much better player in the end. Eventually, Crit would get picked up as the support for Team Monkey Business, which would later turn into the illustrious Team OG. Crit was the backbone of many OG victories, especially in their multi-major run in the TI5 season. He became renowned as the greatest Position 4 player in the world. But Crit is a man who always wants to grow and always wants to conquer new ground. So when EG offered him the chance to captain his very own team, he left what many would consider the best team in the world during one of their best times to build a team of his very own. Now back to support with a wealth of experience gained from his captaincy, Crit is stronger than ever and ready to prove to the world that he still hasn't lost his touch. The captain of Evil Geniuses this TI is a fresh face on the roster, but a veteran on the circuit, Fly. After being second in command of North American team Complexity at the International 5, Fly wanted to form a team with him at the helm. He joined forces with former Fnatic teammate and longtime friend No Tail to form Monkey Business, which would later become the esteemed OG, a multi-major winning team who won 4 out of the 5 Valve majors before the DPC. This was mostly due to Fly's incredible drafting genius and his shot calling in the game. He took his team from the very bottom right to the very top of the scene. When it came to majors, OG were virtually untouchable, and Fly cemented himself as the world-class captain that he always knew he could be. However, he shocked the world by leaving the team that he himself created to join Evil Geniuses. EG, they were on the ropes, and they needed somebody who could provide some strong leadership, and Fly was the ideal candidate for that job. Under intense scrutiny, Fly steered the EG ship away from danger and lifted the dark cloud that had been haunting the team for some time. EG were liberated, and with Sumail back in the mid, Crit back in his position 4, and Fly now at the helm, the NA Giants qualified for the International 8. Fly was the light, and with the players at his disposal and his tactical brilliance, he is on the verge of bringing a dawn of a new age to Evil Geniuses. And finally, we come to S4, the soft-spoken and humble Swede who is a living legend around the world. After winning the International 3 for his team Alliance with the $1 Million Dream Coil, one of the most iconic moments in Dota 2's history, S4 prevented 3 of his enemies from returning to defend their base with milliseconds left to spare, allowing his team to destroy their throne and win the International. For the rest of Alliance, this was their prime. But for S4, he continued to evolve, and he continued to strive for even more perfection. After making a name for himself as a mid player for Alliance and later a star-studded Team Secret member, S4 made a bold move to master a brand new role, the offlane. And master it he did, in little more than a month. To master one role at that kind of level is inspirational, but to master 2 while remaining one of the best players in both of those roles? Pretty unthinkable. But for S4, anything seems to be possible. Now terrifying players on a new continent, S4's recent addition to the EG roster was a master stroke, and he strives to become the first player in history to win 2 internationals. And that is the story of Team Evil Geniuses, NA Dota's heroes. Now, I know what you're thinking. An Israeli, a Canadian, a Swede, a Dane, and a Pakistani-born American. How is this an NA team? Well, isn't that the greatness of America, of esports in general? Anybody can be NA if they really want to. Evil Geniuses is a team that fights for their glory, their liberty, and their winnings, no matter who you are or where you're from. EG will take your young, your Europeans to play for our screaming masses. And with the International 8 being in Vancouver, our TZ's hometown, the team feels right at home. And we're ready to see some NA action at the International 8.